Berlayar Rise is one of the most highly anticipated projects in this June 2026 BTO launch. It is located very near to Teluk Blangah MRT and bounded by Berlayar Street and Berlayar Drive. The project itself comprises of 6 residential blocks ranging from 33 to 49 stories in height, offering a total of 1,976 units of 2-room flexi, 3-room, and 4-room flats. In terms of classification, this project comes as a prime flat and is subjected to 14% subsidy clawback when you want to sell the flat later on after MOP. In terms of on-site facilities, Berlayar Rise features a range of facilities for residents of all ages, including a 3-story preschool, residence network center, nature theme playgrounds, fitness corner, and a hard court. But beyond that, this BTO will also house commercial spaces, including a supermarket, an eating house, several restaurants and cafes, and also shops. And above the multi-story car park, there will be a roof garden with fitness facilities and shelters, which will provide additional space for recreation and relaxation. In terms of waiting time, this is a bit unique because it depends on which block are you getting. For block 201B, 204A, and also 204B, it will be about 49 months because these 3 blocks are relatively shorter versus other blocks in this development. But then for the taller blocks, it will be 54 months. If you are wondering which stack is the best and which one is not so ideal, please check out my other video because I will be discussing that in a separate video. Now, let's talk about pricing. So for Berlayar Rise, for 2-room flexi type 1, the price ranges from $247,000 to $341,000. While for 2-room flexi type 2, the price will be ranging from $296,000 to $406,000. For 3-room, it is being offered starting from $435,000 up to $591,000, which is slightly cheaper than the resale transacted price in nearby area. According to HDB, the nearby transacted price for 3-room ranges between $740,000 to $771,000. And for 4-room flat, the price will range between $592,000 to $810,000, whereas the resale price, as you can see there, already goes beyond $1 million. If we compare the BTO price versus the resale price, the 3-room flat is about 76% versus its resale price, and then for 4-room, it's about 75% versus resale price. Now, there's no comparable resale transaction for 2-room flexi, that's why it's being kept blank. Now, you might be wondering whether this price is good deal or not, and I think the best way to answer that would be to compare this price with the price of Berlayar Residences, which is another BTO that was launched some time ago and located just across the street. So for 2-room flexi, Berlayar Residences prices was ranging from $218,000 to $369,000, which is definitely cheaper from Berlayar Rise. And just to refresh your memory, Berlayar Residences was launched back in October 2025, so it's not even that long time ago. And then for 3-room, Berlayar Residences price was $420,000 to $562,000. Again, slightly cheaper versus Berlayar Rise because for Berlayar Rise, as you can see there, the price starts from $435,000. Now, for 4-room flat, obviously there's also has been an increase because for Berlayar Residences, the price started from $578,000 up to $788,000. But for Berlayar Rise, now it's being offered starting from $592,000 to $810,000. Again, this amount is excluding housing grants. However, the good news is that Berlayar Rise subsidy recovery percentage is actually exactly the same with Berlayar Residences, which is 14%. Okay, now let's talk about the location. So this is the map that HDB gave. If I look at the Google map, basically this is the corresponding land plot. As you can see, this is right opposite the previous Berlayar Residences that was launched in 2025. And as you can see, it is definitely within walking distance to the Teluk Blangah MRT station, so that's very good. One thing to note is that at the back of the plot, as you can see, there's a highway here. So if let's say you don't get a good queue number, you might face the highway. So that is something to take note of. Now, the development itself comes with great on-site facilities because it will have supermarket, an eating house, etc. Right? So that's good. If you want more amenities, of course, you can simply take the train and go to Harbourfront area, where there are more amenities here. Or if you like active lifestyle, as you can see, quite a lot of option from Bukit Cermin Boardwalk, or you can go to Labrador Nature Reserve, or you can go to Mount Faber, or you can even go to Sentosa, for example, if you want to enjoy your time with your family. So I think definitely this location is good to have work-life balance, because the distance to CBD area is also quite close. Now there are also like some small shops and like eateries underneath the development that you see surrounding the area, so that can be also an option if you want more amenities. However, if you look at the map, if you have young children, the reality is that this location doesn't have much schooling option. So you can see Blangah Rise Primary School is over here. But then other than that, the option is very limited, right? You have Radin Mas Primary School, but it's a bit far. You have CHIJ St. Teresa's Convent, but it's quite far. So I think that would be the trade-off if you want to live in this location. But of course, nowadays the problem can be easily solved by school bus, right? So that would solve the distance problem. Now let's zoom out and see what are your chances in getting ocean view. So the land plot is at the back, right? And then as you can see, actually there are land plots that is closer to the water. So there's always a possibility that even though you have a middle or high floor, some new development will be developed there, and then you ended up just looking at another tower instead of the ocean. So that would be the watch out. But if let's say you're lucky enough and then your view doesn't get blocked, indeed, like towards the southern area, you would be able to see some ocean view. But if not, even this side would be good, because you would be looking at the greeneries of Mount Faber, which I think will be nice as well. So you would be able to see like city view on this side. So I think overall it's still a strong option if you want to apply for a BTO in this June 2026 launch. Now let's talk about the pros and cons, starting with what I like first. So I think this location definitely would have extremely high resale value, especially if you manage to snatch one of the high floors. If let's say you have unit facing the ocean, definitely that would be a bonus for many people. However, having said that, looking at the map, this project is not the closest to the water though. So even if let's say at the beginning you can see the ocean, I don't know whether it will be there for long, because there's always a possibility of your view getting blocked by future development. So take that with a grain of salt. And then another thing that I like is, I think this development on its own already have the premium image, because it is HDB, but it has a lot of on-site facilities, which makes it very convenient if you live here. And I'm sure it will also help with the resale value later on. Another thing that I like is that this project have almost 2,000 flats. So when it's time for you to sell your flat, let's say after MOP you want to sell, there will be a lot of price benchmark for resale, and typically a lot of benchmark will mean that it's easier to fetch even a higher price. And then another good thing with the number of flats, because there are so many flats, hopefully the application rate will be more manageable, because the supply hopefully will be able to keep up with the demand. Another thing that I like is that because it is very near to the Teluk Blangah MRT station, it will be easy to commute to work if you are working in the CBD area, or if you want to get more amenities, let's say in the harborfront area, it will be very convenient. If let's say you want to rent out some of the rooms here, it should be easy as well. I think the demand will be quite high. But remember, because this will be a prime flat, you will not be able to rent out the whole flat even after MOP. So please take note of that. And then if you like active lifestyle, this location is near the Bukit Cermin Boardwalk, so you can jog near the ocean in theory. And then another thing that I like is that this project have plenty of two-room flexi as well as four-room. Particularly for two-room flexi, 810 is a lot. Now, on the other hand, what are the things that I don't really like about this development? I think first and foremost, if we look at the map, this project is next to a highway, so certain blocks, especially if you can only get low to middle floor, it will be noisy and dusty. So again, it will boils down to your queue number later on. Another thing that I read from online forums is there's actually a trade-off if your development has an eating house, supermarket, cafes, etc. downstairs. It's good for your convenience, but for those who are living on the lower floor, actually it's a double edge because it will be noisier for you, and then there will be also like more cockroaches and bugs, specifically because of the eating house and the supermarket downstairs. But of course, this is only applicable for certain blocks. Not every block will have this problem. I think another downside would be for family with young children. Please take note that this location doesn't have much school options. And I don't think this will be resolved anytime soon. So you have to bear in mind that if you have school-going children, they would just have to take school bus, which is additional cost, right? The restrictions that comes with prime development, of course, I think most people would be familiar with it. The 10-year MOP, cannot rent out the whole flat even after MOP, the income ceiling for future resale buyers, etc. Another downside that you need to consider is that the ocean view might eventually be blocked by other development that will be closer to the water. So that is something to think about. Another thing that you need to watch out for is that the area for this ex-keppel ground is still under development, right? If you see the map, so Berlayar residences will be there, and then this project is there, but then the rest of the land plot are still not announced yet, but it will be developed soon. So which means that you can expect some construction dust and noise from the surrounding areas for several years to come. That is almost certain. So in summary, I think considering all factors, this is still a very solid option if you want to apply for a BTO, because if you look at it from different angles, it does have a lot of good selling points. So for example, it's very near to MRT station, the on-site facilities are great, and the potential resale value is very strong, etc. So overall, this is a very good option. But for families, I think the lack of nearby school options is going to be a real challenge. Another thing to note is that even though this development is relatively near to the ocean, please do not hope so much for ocean view, even for high floors, because again, if we look at the map, this land plot is not the closest development to the water, so the ocean view might eventually get blocked. What I'm trying to say is that I think at the end of the day, you need to really stay true to your budget. So don't overextend yourself just to get the highest floor, because it might not get the ocean view that you wanted. So just buy within your budget, what you're comfortable with. But what do you think? Let me know your comment down below. What do you think about this project? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.